Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Alex. Have you ever noticed something amazing about ChatGPT? You can ask it a question in English,
Continue in French, switch to Japanese, and even finish in German. Yet somehow, ChatGPT still understands exactly what you mean. How is that possible? Today, we're going to unlock the science behind one of the most remarkable abilities of modern artificial intelligence. I'm going to explain it by answering 7 simple questions. Each answer naturally leads to the next. And by the time we reach our final question, you'll understand one of ChatGPT's biggest secrets. So, let's begin.
Question number 1. How can ChatGPT understand so many different languages? Let's think about that for a moment.
English looks completely different from Japanese. Japanese looks nothing like Arabic. Arabic is very different from German. German doesn't resemble French. Different alphabets, different writing systems, different grammar, different vocabulary. So, how can one AI model understand them all?
Here's the fascinating part. Although these languages look completely different on the surface,
They're all describing the same world, people, places, time, numbers, questions, actions, feelings, relationships. The words are different, the grammar is different, but beneath those differences, many of the underlying ideas and the relationships between those ideas are remarkably similar. ChatGPT gradually learned those deeper patterns. It learned that although different languages use different words, they often express the same concepts. Those shared patterns became invisible bridges, connecting one language to another. And once you understand that, another fascinating question appears.
how can ChatGPT understand our typing mistakes? Now, let's move to question number 2.
How can ChatGPT understand our typing mistakes? Let's do a little experiment together. Can you read this sentence? I not to know the weather tomorrow. Almost every word contains a spelling mistake. Yet, you probably understood it without much difficulty. Why? Because human languages have a remarkable property called language redundancy. In simple terms, human languages contain enough information that even when a few letters are wrong, the intended meaning can usually still be recovered. Now let's try another example. Can you understand this? Probably not. Why? Because it isn't a real language. It has no grammar, no meaningful patterns, and no language redundancy. There simply aren't enough clues for either you or ChatGPT to work out the intended message. ChatGPT learned this same property during training. Instead of analyzing each word separately, it looks at the entire sentence, the surrounding words, the grammar, the context. All of these provide clues about what you most likely intended to write. That's why ordinary typing mistakes rarely confuse ChatGPT. Now, let's move to question number 3. How does ChatGPT know which language you're using? Especially when several languages are mixed together. Let's try one more experiment. Good morning. Comment allez-vous? 今日は元気ですか? Wie geht es Ihnen? That's English, French, Japanese, and German. 4 different languages in one conversation. Yet ChatGPT usually understands every sentence. Without asking, which language you're speaking. How? Because ChatGPT doesn't first decide what language it's reading. Instead, as it processes the text, it continuously recognizes patterns in the characters, the words, the grammar, and the vocabulary. Those patterns naturally reveal which language each part belongs to. Even when several languages appear in the same conversation, ChatGPT can usually separate them, understand them, and respond appropriately. That's why conversations can switch naturally from one language to another without confusing the model. Now, let's move to question number 4. Then, how did ChatGPT actually learn all those languages? Many people imagine ChatGPT sitting in a virtual classroom, studying English, then French, then Japanese, one language after another. But that's not what happened. During training, ChatGPT processed an enormous collection of publicly available text, books, articles, research papers, websites, encyclopedias, newspapers, and many other kinds of human writing from many different languages. It wasn't memorizing dictionaries. It wasn't memorizing grammar rules. Instead, it was discovering patterns. Patterns showing which words usually appear together, how sentences are constructed, how ideas are connected, and how similar ideas are expressed across completely different languages. Little by little, those statistical patterns became its understanding of language. That's why, when you ask ChatGPT a question today, it doesn't search through millions of books looking for an answer. Instead, it uses those learned patterns to predict the most appropriate response, one word at a time. And that naturally brings us to our next question. Question number 5. If ChatGPT understands language so well, why does it still make mistakes? That's an excellent question. ChatGPT predicts the most likely next word based on everything it learned during training. Most of the time, those predictions are remarkably accurate. But prediction isn't the same as certainty. Sometimes a question is ambiguous. Sometimes reliable information is incomplete. Sometimes trusted sources disagree. And sometimes there simply isn't enough high-quality information available. When that happens, ChatGPT can misunderstand your question or generate an incorrect answer. That's why important information should always be verified, especially when it relates to medicine, law, finance, or other decisions with serious consequences. And now, we've reached our final 2 questions. Question number 6. How can ChatGPT recognize thousands of different letters, characters, and writing systems from so many languages? Think about it. The English alphabet contains just 26 letters. Japanese uses hiragana, katakana, and thousands of kanji characters. Chinese uses thousands of Han characters. Arabic has its own script, written from right to left. So, how can one AI system understand them all? Here's the fascinating part. ChatGPT doesn't actually read letters the way humans do. Before your message is processed, the text is first broken into smaller units, called tokens. A token might be an entire word, part of a word, a punctuation mark, or sometimes just a single character. Those tokens are then converted into mathematical representations, allowing the neural network to recognize patterns, regardless of whether the original text was English, Japanese, Arabic, or many other languages. That's why completely different writing systems can all be processed by the same AI model. And now, we've arrived at our final question. Question number 7. So, exactly how many languages can ChatGPT understand? Here's the remarkable answer. ChatGPT can communicate in well over 100 languages. Its ability isn't exactly the same in every language. Languages with larger amounts of publicly available text are generally handled more accurately than languages with less available data. But here's the truly remarkable part. ChatGPT's greatest achievement isn't simply that it understands well over 100 languages. It's that it discovered the hidden statistical patterns shared across human language itself. Patterns connecting letters to words, words to sentences, sentences to ideas, and ideas across many different languages. That's why a single AI model can communicate with people across much of the world. The next time ChatGPT understands your typing mistakes, recognizes several languages, or replies naturally in your own language, you'll know what's really happening behind the scenes. It isn't simply translating words, it is recognizing the hidden patterns that connect human language itself. And that is one of the most remarkable achievements of modern artificial intelligence. I'm Dr. Alex. Thank you very much for watching Science Unlocked. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's curious about how artificial intelligence really works. Until next time, keep asking questions and keep unlocking science.